like Jamal dices up
Time
the
out.
Big 12.
Time out. You know what I've
Well,
appreciated.
let me time out you real quick.
Okay. Time out the timeouter. Kellen
Sampson.
Son.
Royalty.
It is always a treat to be with my favorite people.
Your Godfather.
It is an even bigger treat to be on here with the Godfather.
Son.
All right, Kellen.
Yes.
Galen. 5 years ago today, y'all beat Cincinnati to win your first conference championship at the University of Houston. 5 years ago today. 7 in 1 day less than 5 years. What the hell are y'all doing?
I'd say we're just doing shit the right way, man. Doing shit the right way.
That's it. You know what? We're doing stuff our way. I think that's the when you know what your formula is and you know what your process is, you can recruit to it. You can get guys to play to it, and you can weed out maybe those that can't do it, and that allows you just to have crazy productive days. Mm-hmm. Do you agree with that, G, or no?
Absolutely.
G,
couldn't have said it better myself.
G used to talk about, you can tell within a really short period of time, 1 workout, 2 workouts, no more than a week, if a dude's going to work out or not. If it's going to be too much, if the process is going to be too hard for them. And what we've gotten better and better and better at is identifying those traits before they even get here. Right. And now you're just dealing with pieces that you can work with, that you can mold, that you can conform, and now you can, you got a lot of like-minded people. Now you just got to put the team together.
Mm-hmm. What do you do to identify those guys? Like, how you could weed out at a very high level, but then when you get down to it, what are you looking for? The difference between a Galen and maybe another point guard, or Jamal and another?
Well, I think first of all, it's having crazy honesty within you about what your system is. I think it starts there. Okay, what are you looking for in a point guard? Say that particular position. What do they have to be able to do? Okay, and then you're looking for the personality traits. Can they handle coach? Can they understand the weight that's going to be placed on their shoulders? And are they capable of being responsible for the group, as it relates to the PG? So there's a physical checklist they've got to be able to handle. And then there's a mental checklist that they've got to be able to handle based off of how we operate and how we, choose to peel our orange. I remember when we were recruiting Jamal, for example, there was another guard within the state who I was kind of tossing and turning whether or not he could do it in the same class. And I saw both of them on the same day. Jamal couldn't have been more uplifting, positive, bopping around in his weight room at 6:30 in the morning in Manor, Texas. And then later that afternoon, I went and saw a kid up in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and his body language was awful. His team that day happened to be running the mile. He finished last. He threw an absolute pity party for himself. And then when his team went from the mile to the basketball floor, he didn't say a word. He didn't communicate. He was just he had absolutely zero intangibles. And I thought, that kid will never make it here. Right. He's got no chance of surviving us. And made it crazy easy to be all in, 10 toes on Jamal at the time. That was in the spring of 2018.
So at that point,
spring of 18.
So Jamal's 16 at that time, 15 maybe.
He had, when we made the decision to be one. Look, he is the one. We started recruiting Molly when he was 15, and then we made the decision that he was the one when he was 16.
Damn.
And it appears that worked out. Conference Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, unanimous first team, all Big 12. When you heard that, what are you thinking?
It's a damn good year, brother.
Facts.
It's just a, we couldn't, and Galen sat there in many of them. But last year's post-season meeting, you have with all your guys, end of your season meeting, and it's you and the coaching staff. It's typically you and coach, and you just recap where you're at, how your year went, but then you recap about where you're at within the program, and then you start to preview what your postseason, off-season, preseason needs to look like for next year's team, and you start to have a really clear picture of where you stand in relation to moving forward. Last year, we could not have been more brutally honest about where we thought Jamal was. And, he had to hear some really hard truths last April. And not that he had a bad year. It was, I think he was second team all conference. We had a good year as a team, blah, blah, blah. But what do we need from Jamal in order for our team to cross the next step as we transition into the Big 12? And it was designed to be an uncomfortable conversation. There were some things that Jamal needed to do. He needed to be in much better shape. Started with that. He had to take his conditioning to another level. He had to embrace that piece of his game. Because, and Jamal hates to run. Call it what it is.
My man.
He hates to run. He hates conditioning. And he had to hear it. He had to hear that, look, for you to go from where you are to where you want to be and where we need you to be, you can't be in a negative place about it, because then you can't lead. And then that will save you from a lot of knick-knack injuries across the year, because your body's ready. I don't know, this whole space that we're in, with the popularity of our program and the attention that we're now getting, I don't think it was brand new. There were times when Wally didn't always handle that well. He had to hear that. And I say all that to say, like, to his credit, he took it the way your captain is supposed to take it, and didn't get in his feelings, didn't get defensive, he had heard it, and then he went and did something about it. And it's gone well. It's gone so well with Jamal in large respect because his mom and dad are awesome.
Yeah.
And they were a big piece to the equation as far as him being able to take the next step, because they've always had our back while being his parents. And that sometimes gets muddy at times, is you choose to be they've always saw both sides of the coin and really helped Jamal.
You have to thread the needle to get a player like him, who has a ceiling like his, and the parents that basically have that kind of ceiling too. There's a lot of luck in that, obviously, but I mean, you just got it right. You got it right with Galen. You got it right with him. Where are you at with the next wave of point guards? Perhaps one of the guys you had in yesterday.
Well, I don't think that there's luck when you're targeting.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a very unlucky process if you do it right. Now, you can't help if they change, I guess, when you get them. But I do think when you're evaluating that position specifically, you've got to be really, really careful about not screwing it up, which means that you better empower them to have crazy ownership when they get here. So you need to target the right person who can embrace and got the wide enough shoulders to handle the weight of being the point guard here. We've had 3 point guards here in 9 years. You know, Galen had it for 4. Dejan Giroux had it for 2. Jamal's now had it for 3. There might be some revolving doors at the other positions, you know, but we have not screwed up that position, and that you better look at the whole situation in its entirety and evaluate it. People in their lives, mom, dad, AAU coach, high school coach, have they done this before? Are they used to leading? Are they used to others counting on them? Do they have an everydayness about them? Are they okay with things may not be your fault, but they are getting ready to be your problem?
Woo!
Um,
Coach Kale, goddamn, you just that is exactly right.
and if you don't have, if you're evaluating, and they don't have that kind of maturity, man, you gotta be courageous enough to go the other way, regardless of their talent. For our formula to work at point guard, he better be a man among men, and he better have, regardless of his age, he better have the wherewithal to be a leader of men. And if he doesn't, it's okay to get to the next rung talent level if he is. And I don't think it's not an accident that we've had great point guard play here, because we've evaluated the person as well as the player.
Brad?
Well, whenever you're talking about being able to have those difficult conversations with Jamal and with Galen, you seem to be able to do that with the entire team. And you're able to do it every year. You know, we hear a lot about, you know, of course, all the old people are going to say, oh, this generation's soft, this generation's soft. Whether it's true or not, you know, that's the perception. How are you able to be able to have these conversations without things blowing up? Is that from just your identification process, or is that just part of the culture and the training of the players themselves?
At this point, we're blessed in that most people that we start the process with have an understanding of who we are at the outset. If you're sending your young person here, it's because they want to be coached. If you're sending your young person here, that means, hey, look, hey, man, I know you're excited about Houston and they win and they pack out Fertitta and all that stuff, but understand it's going to be hard. It's a program built on toughness. It's a program built on accountability. And so while there is no way to possibly be prepared for everything before you get here,
Right.
I don't think it's not the first time when it happens. It's not like there hasn't been some pretty good and fair warning.
Right.
And so that helps. And we abide and live by the kind of the adage that, you know, how we coach kids begins with how we recruit them. We don't present a plan or a fairy tale
Right.
that's unrealistic or that's dandelions and strawberries and no, we're pretty upfront and honest that we're going to coach you hard. We're going to believe in you, but we are upfront and really honest that we're going to make you uncomfortable. We're going to push you to a place that you couldn't go yourself, and sometimes that's really difficult. That's really hard.
Very difficult.
And we don't run from that. And I don't think you can have the success or you can do what we do unless you're crazy upfront about it on the front end.
Right.
Because when those hard days come and when they start having that internal reflection, they start questioning, what in the hell am I doing? At least, look, there are reference points to, hey, you know what? We've talked about this. This is what we said it would be, but this is also how we're going to be arm in arm, hand in hand, shoulder to shoulder, and we're not leaving you while you're going through it.
Right.
I do think that's where our staff stability has been awesome. The same messages, you know, I told Galen in the recruiting process, it's the same voice he heard when he played. So it's not like we switched the code up. It's not like all of a sudden they felt ambushed because they got lied to.
Mm-hmm.
That helps. You know, it's, you know, we've been intact pretty good here now for 3 years. And then outside of Coach Brooks and McHale leaving, we've been intact for 7 years with Bishop and Bilal and Kiwanis joining us 7 years ago. That helps. I mean, I can't discredit how much that helps get people through that hard day. You know, I told Galen, he said this a million times, but, you know, you're having a hard day. That doesn't mean you have to have a hard tomorrow. You know, let's get through this.
Hard days build character.
You know, you can't possibly, we can't truly coach you until you hit rock bottom, though.
Right.
Because until you hit rock bottom, you won't fully surrender.
That's the word, Coach. That's the word right there. Surrender.
Until you hit rock bottom.
Surrender.
To the point that you realize that however which way you're trying to do it isn't our way, that I need to surrender and do it your way.
Surrender. You
won't truly have the success that we all see through our eyes. And it's so awesome, and it's such an humbling, and I never take it for granted. When they finally, you can finally feel the surrender. They finally are doing it our way.
Mm-hmm.
And for some kids, it happens really early. For some, it takes a while. For some, they're having crazy success, but they still haven't fully surrendered. And so their rock bottom's coming. You know, a great example of that was Rob Gray. Rob was a monster. His first year, and Galen remembers this.
I remember at SMU.
But
Never
he had surrendered, and we had to
forget it.
We had to force him to hit rock bottom.
How did you do that?
Well, we coach benched him. We played UConn at home on a Saturday. We're up 10 with about 8 to go, 9 to go, something like that. And Rob single-handedly was UConn's best player the last 10 minutes of the game. Now, he had 16 or 17 for us, but couldn't have been worse. And it was the culmination of he wasn't listening. You know, not communicating switches, turnovers, bad shots, lazy on ball, like just all the stuff that losers do.
Non-intense.
Not like was playing like a man in a phone booth. And we happened to be playing at SMU on a Monday.
That's when they were top 10 in the nation.
They were booming. That Sunday night in Moody Coliseum, Coach emptied the cannon on him. Every 3 minutes, it was Rob, get on the line. 2 minutes, you know. And I didn't think Rob handled it poorly, but then Coach doubled down on it and then didn't play him 1 second. We lose by 4. And some conventional wisdom says, hey, if you play your best player who's totally healthy, maybe you win that one. But the mindset was, I'm okay losing this game so I can win the war.
Win more, exactly. Man.
And, you know, Rob had to hit rock bottom. And part of Rob's rock bottom was realizing that I'm playing for somebody more stubborn than I am. I'm playing for somebody that absolutely forced me to do everything the way he wants me to do it, or he's not going to play me regardless of how talented I am. And I got to my phone that night because none of us knew Rob, he wasn't going to play Rob. It was a total
executive decision.
That was not, he just did it.
The chief.
And I had a missed call from Rob's dad. And I thought, oh boy, here we go. And he just wanted to know what happened. Did Rob do something? Is he hurt? He just wanted, and then when I explained it to him, Rob Gray Sr. told me, tell Coach I said thank you.
Wow.
Because he's the first person in my son's life to coach him and not give in to his talent, but he's choosing to save my son. Don't worry about it. Your guys are good with us.
Wow.
And Rob went on to have a pretty good career.
Pretty
Yeah,
decent, if you ask me.
I'd say so.
And Rob never left, never transferred, never talked about leaving, never thought about it. He was just locked in. And I remember Rob's senior night, that embrace Coach Rob had, because there was true appreciation for everything Coach did in the process. And you loved me when I didn't know what love looked like. And until you have people, that's when you better evaluate the entire situation. And we're blessed at this point that we can, in recruiting, evaluate in an entire situation and not just be beholden to talent.
That's pretty cool. Star Pizza. Just enjoy. Just have fun with it. 3 locations. Buffets on Tuesdays. Kellen, to the outsider that doesn't see practice, that maybe doesn't pay attention all season, it feels like Ced Lath just joined the team 10 days ago. He's been building, but it feels like maybe there's a light switch that's come on for him. Obviously, he has to play more, but what's happening there?
Yeah, so Ced came last Christmas, right? And just it wasn't super experienced about anything. And so, like, kind of look, we had to get him in shape first. We had to, and then teach him. There's just a lot of teaching going on. But
Okay.
you know, what's so cool is, as we were getting ready for Australia, there were drills Ced couldn't even be in because he just screwed it up. You know, and you were spending all of your time, a crazy amount of man hours, just coaching him, and it almost wasn't fair to the group. So it was just easier just to peel Ced off and coach the team. Well, now you fast forward, Ced can do everything. He has a crazy pride about himself, regardless of what went on. He always wanted to be the first one in line. He wanted to be the first one to do everything. And he took every little nugget, every opportunity to be coached, every opportunity he took it to heart. And there's been so many days where he was emotional because he didn't feel like he got better. He didn't feel like he got good enough that day. I'm not getting this. I'm not grasping it. Let me give Jamal Shead a ton of credit. Ever since we've lost JoJo, every night Jamal's either in his hotel room or in his apartment going over the Ced package. So make sure Ced knows every play. Hollis Price has been a godsend for Ced, and that he's been crazy patient, crazy understanding, but also firm and demanding with Ced in private individual one-on-one sessions. When he works with our big group, Ced has a lot of internal self-pride that he doesn't want to look bad. And when a player has that kind of pride, they can get better in a hurry. And when we lost JoJo, I said at our staff meeting, I said, Ced's going to get better in the next 10 days quicker and faster than he did the previous 10 months because he cares and we need him to. And I kind of text that to Galen today, is in the history of us, everybody is ready when we really need them to. They're always ready. Nobody thought Ramon Walker was ready 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But we needed him. And when you really, really need somebody and they love you as much as you love them, they're not going to let you down. And that's kind of what happened.
That's wild. And good on Jamal for his work.
Well, it seems like if we look at it in a short window, Ced's the obvious, the obvious example for right now, but it seems to be pretty similar with what's going on with JVA as well. Just watching him, the first time that he stood out to me was that windmill tomahawk at Tulane.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you got a really big athletic guy, and all of a sudden he pulls that off. I'm like, there's something there. And then we watch him, and all through last year, I kind of nicknamed him the baby moose, just because he looked like he was all arms and legs and just trying to pull it all together. I didn't recognize him this year the way he played, because he's a different kind of character.
Shout out to Galen for that one, by the way. It was COVID. I was Jay, and had a couple clandestine operations while recruiting Jay, and I called Galen. I said, man, because Jay was a little upset that we didn't offer him in the time frame that he kind of was expecting an offer, because he's one of those kids that we brought invited to every game. My son's going nuts. Holy smokes. And
I'm just glad that's not coming from anybody else, because
no.
I know y'all don't have kids. Yeah.
Allergies have hit Houston.
Oh yeah.
But so Galen really helped us seal the deal with Jay. Westbury Christian, and I kind of sent Galen over there. Next thing I know, we were a little better standing with that one. But Jay's a guy that it's crazy the amount of basketball he has not played.
Right.
From started the game late, and then he really was only 2 years at Westbury. Then his last year was COVID. And he went to Montverde, and he didn't play. He was just a practice guy for them. And then he comes to us his first year, and man, didn't get a lot of opportunities, just practiced. But I thought the light bulb was really coming on for him last year. Mm-hmm. There just wasn't a pathway for him because of how good Jarris played, how good J1 played. And there was a comfort level that Coach had with Reggie that you just weren't going to give Jay the kind of extended minutes at the expense of Reggie in the big games.
Right.
And that kind of stunted his, Jay was kind of at the point where he's only going to get so good practicing. He needed to play. And the X factor there is just confidence. You can only be so confident if you don't get your game opportunities. And so we had a really difficult decision to make. Not difficult, but it was a decision to say, look, do we feel like Jay's is in, if we throw water and sunshine at Jay, is he going to be enough? Because Jay was not going to stay. We knew that, unless it was a clear, obvious, the runway is, to play.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And Jay's confidence level wasn't going to cross the bridge until there was no other option. And so if he had to go, if we brought in a grad and just said, look, we'll let him compete for it, Jay wasn't going to be confident enough to win that fight. We needed to jumpstart his confidence with our own belief in him. And I think it started there, that when we didn't grab somebody, I think it put a different level of belief in him. That, man, these guys really rock with me, man. All of that, everything that I've been through there really wasn't a plan in place. He had really good moments behind the scenes that made us really confident in that. He had 3 double-doubles last year. Regardless of the competition, it's double-doubles, it's production. What you're seeing is, we said this, whatever investment we felt like we were going to get a return on investments second semester, whatever we put in him first semester. He was not going to be ready or good enough maybe first semester. But if we rode with him and invested with him and hung in there with him, we're counting that by second semester he will be. Mm-hmm. And that was a gamble that obviously has paid off. But Jay earned the right to have that kind of trust. He earned the right to have that benefit of the doubt because of how much better he's gotten. Look at a guy like JoJo, who's played basketball his entire life. His two older sisters were hoopers, and JoJo's played a crazy amount. I say this all the time. You can tell when JoJo plays how much tip 21 he's played on the blacktop. He's hooped a lot at his grandma's house with all his little cousins. Jay didn't.
Right.
The best compliment I can give Jay is Jay has become a hooper this year. For the first time in his life, he's become a hooper. Somebody puts Simba's on fire. Somebody puts their arm on Jay. He finally has the wherewithal to bat it away. Like I'm not a punk anymore. I'm not somebody's punching bag. I'm not. I know how to. I can get away with this. Jay doesn't get ducked in anymore. He's finally learned how to be proactive with the nuances and little things of the game, so that his gifts can take over with the big stuff. When was the last time Jay doesn't get over the back fouls anymore? He's realized what rebounds I got a great shot at, and realized, man, you know what? They boxed me out. I need to let them have it. Those are hooper things. And Galen's as quick and fast as anybody, but Galen, through his experience, knows what steals he can get and what steals he can't. And everybody, your process is different. Everybody's how quickly you can catch up to the timing and speed of the game is your process. We talk about this with bigs all the time. Your process in seeing the game at the right speed, if your shot blocking's there. Bigs who don't process the speed of the game foul.
Right.
They're late. They're crashing down. They're letting guards get into their chest and initiate the contact. Jay was a foul magnet because he wasn't playing in the right speed of the game. Well, this year those fouls are becoming block shots. Guys, bigs who get tips, Galen knows what tips are, but guys who get offensive tips aren't playing in the speed of the game. They become rebounds. Justin Gorham was a great example. Justin's junior year, he was a tipper. His senior year, he was a getter. He finally caught up to the speed of the game. It had almost nothing to do with his physical ability. It was just he mentally was processing the game better. And that's what Jay's doing.
JoJo is a tipper. Brad and I have been talking about this all year. Is just the number of balls that he's gotten to has been unreal, and he's about to become that rebounder. You lost him.
Yes. Great.
You used to be the coach of the fours. Now you're the coach of the four. And you have lost so many guys. It is. I've never seen anything like it. By the way, this is when you see the confidence in JVR. That slam, he erupted after that. What is it? How do you change your approach when you go from four really talented guys to just one really old guy?
We're such a developmental based program that it's hard not to be developing somebody right now. Mm-hmm. That's such a big part of my day is slotting out their individual times and where they at in their cycle. Jamal's like a 15-year NBA vet. Just get him to the games right now. So I got a little more time on my hands than I'm typically used to. Just sucks because Terrence Arsenault's last two games, he had 19 rebounds.
Yeah.
And it seemed like he was somebody that had touched his rock bottom and now was ready to climb because he had surrendered. He was somebody that was starting to, his rock bottom, he'd surrendered, and now we were starting to fill the rest with confidence. And he was starting to become a really, really good version of himself, and he was excited about this version of himself. You look at Ramon Walker's last 2 games; he was terrific.
Yeah.
He finally had embraced. I was talking to his dad about it. He had embraced who he is. You know, what my role is. What am I good at? And he was starting to love that version of himself because it was different than it was 2 years ago.
Right.
You know, 2 years ago he knew he was the first guard off the bench, and he was going to be a wing, and that was his gig. Whereas now he was coming in as a backup 4, and he was having to bang and be physical and fight, scrap, claw, and his identity was more rebounding. Whereas 2 years ago it was all hustle, but he was more of a catch shoot guy. And so I hate that his process got ended. JoJo's offensive game was emerging. It was there. You know, we were starting to. He was, you know, scoring seemingly on every short roll opportunity. Scoring. You look at the Baylor. He catches 2 short rolls. One is a nice left-hand jump hook off the glass. One was a big-time catch. He got to the other side of the rim, you know, and finished. Those are always that. All of that is the product of development, and so when the process gets ended early, it just, you know, it's a blow to everything, because you don't start where you ended. You got to go back to the beginning, especially with Terrence, because he's going to have been out for so long. And JoJo. I mean, both those guys are going to, it's a long process. We're talking 4, 5, 6 months for both of them. So, but we'll do it. We've done it before. We'll put the pieces back together. Galen can attest to this. You're not the same player you were before you got hurt. You're more mature. You're more grateful. You have a different perspective. You've seen the game maybe in a different lens, and those can be really positive experiences.
Definitely. I still remember, like, my biggest issue was my body language, and I wasn't able to fully grasp what coach was telling me until I broke my foot and I was on the sideline on my little scooter having to watch, and then I saw what somebody's body language was like after they made a mistake, and it was just like, damn, is that how I look? And they're like, yeah. So it's just like, obviously, once you see something from like a different perspective, you know, you realize the importance of it.
Yes. And a guy like Terrence is that. I do think this has been awesome for him. He has communicated some of the same things already. But man, I see why y'all are on me, you know, about how I'm carrying and portraying myself. I do think a guy like Joe, he'll appreciate the intensity and the urgency that we're always asking him to work out with, and the game speed, because, you know, there's nothing like March Madness. And the intensity, every game is a season in itself in a way, and the desperation and the intensity and the urgency. Everybody who plays in the tournament appreciates the moment, and the urgency and the desperation that they bring to those fights is awesome. And once you play in a tournament game, it's a drug. You want it more and more and more and more and more, and it just takes all of your work to another level.
We're going to let you get out of here, Kellen, on this first Big 12 title. You won one as a player?
Won as a player. I had to share my food this time. You know, we
Get
didn't
the
share
whole meal. Yeah.
whole deal.
We see what the players felt about that. How is that with coaches? And especially yesterday in that environment. The environment has been building all year.
Yep.
And you hit a crescendo yesterday that felt next level.
I don't know I've got a lot of awesome Fertitta moments. It's going to be hard for anybody to ever top yesterday. I tell everybody the loudest I heard Fertitta for the longest was your senior year, Galen. We played LSU.
Oh yeah, that was right. Super.
Man, yesterday was insane. and I feel like I've said that after Iowa State, or I feel like I said that after Texas. It's awesome that our fans keep outdoing themselves. We had an awesome chip on our shoulder all year that drove us and took us to an awesome place that I don't think we had last year. I'm going to be honest with that. I thought last year we were just so much significantly more talented than everybody in the American that it didn't matter. But that's also Marcus's injury too. But that's also why Memphis got us. So they had a chip on their shoulder against us in the conference final, whereas we were already 10 toes deep into the tournament. I think that we fought all year for our seat at the table. And that unified managers, coaches, staff, support staff, everybody this year to chase something awesome together, because you only got one chance. We only got one chance to make a first impression,
Right.
And that's kind of been a rallying cry for us. There's a lot of people who don't think we belong. There's a lot of people who don't think that we can withstand the grind and how grueling the Big 12 schedule is. And so to reach that checkpoint, I think it was pretty satisfying. It had a lot of similar vibes to when we won it for the first time with Galen, truth be told.
Mm-hmm.
You always remember your first one. And the first time that 19 was incredibly satisfying because we knew the ass whippings that we took in Moody,
Man,
in Fifth Third Arena,
man, the old one,
and felt it,
man.
and all those that it took all those scars for us to keep going, to climb the ladder, to get good enough, to have enough of an appreciation for what it looked like. 22 was crazy satisfying because of all the injuries.
Yeah.
Right. This one was on the same shelf. And I think the thing that all three of those had in common was we were crazy tied together, bound together, unified by an outside cause of belief. There's a lot of people that threw dirt on us in 19 because it hadn't been our league. They didn't think we were quite good enough because we hadn't beat SMU or Cincinnati yet. We hadn't done it. And they were right to it was Cincinnati's league until it wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
And they had earned that benefit of the doubt.
Absolutely.
21 was COVID. Big reason we went to the Final Four is because the league gave it to Wichita State. We were pissed off and angry.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think there's a better pissed off program in the country than us.
Y'all do pissed off really well.
We were mad and angry and felt screwed in 21 when they gave it to Wichita State after they ducked smoke for 3 weeks with their scheduling.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Right. That put us on a burner. When we got to Fort Worth, we were on a mission, and then that fire stayed lit all the way through the bubble. The next year, after everybody threw dirt and put a period after Marcus's injury, we got angry, and we're pretty good angry. And then this year we've been how it ended with Miami played a big part in our anger. Just didn't feel like we played Cougar basketball on the biggest of stages.
Yeah.
And then to hear maybe they've missed their window. Maybe they don't have no idea. They're not built to handle the grind, all that stuff. It was awesome fuel for us. And so now our challenge is to look, there's a lot of things we haven't done in March either. And we've got to be pissed off, and we've got to be angry, and we've got to be eyes narrowed, and let's get focused on continuing to knock things off that we haven't done yet.
Want to stay right there, but Deaky just scored his first points on his first shot, a 3-ball.
That is good.
That guy, Galen, I know you're so in love with this. Yeah.
We played them I think 2 weeks ago, and I was like, bro, keep going. Your time is coming. Like
Yes.
he's been putting on monster performances the entire 2024. So it's no surprise, man.
He played open gym with our guys this summer, and I thought, damn, this is a pro. Like, I mean, it's not like we got bad guards, but he was just doing things that, man, pros do. And so you were just keeping your fingers crossed that luck would be on his side, and he didn't get too beat down, and don't get discouraged or distracted along the way, that you don't get off the train 5 seconds before your miracle. And shout out to him, that the resiliency that dude's had, and the dark places that he's had to go through the last 24 months coming back. I mean, he's almost 24 months. He's just over 24 months from when he tore it 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So,
wow.
At the end of the day, nothing works like work.
True. Jeez.
We talked right after Iowa State, and you thought, yeah, it sucked to go up to Hilton and lose, but maybe it would be something y'all could build on.
Yeah.
It worked out that way, huh?
We didn't play very good that night in Ames, obviously. And the fact that, we all knew how hard of a venue that is, how hard of a place, had crazy respect for Hilton. And for us to have played as poorly as we played and only lose by essentially 2 points.
Yeah.
If you can have, you couldn't have had a more optimistic or more uplifting attitude about where we were at after a loss than that. For us, most teams, when they play as poorly as we played that night in that building, get boat raced. We didn't. We took a lead. We were down 14-0 at one point. 3 minutes to go and change, we took a lead. I think we knew that maybe as much or maybe more so than up to that point, any other point in the year, man, we got something pretty good here. We just need to understand and have a better respect for how to win. It's not just winning is hard, but we've got the bones to do it. And there's things we needed to do better preparation-wise, mindset-wise, mentality-wise to give ourselves a better shot. And kudos to our guys for doing it.
That's Kellen Sampson. They don't give rings for being number one in the country, but they do give rings when you win your conference. And they just got their 7th ring in 5 years. That's pretty awesome. They're first in the Big 12. What's the outlook this week? Obviously, you want to go up and win it, but you feel like you've done enough to put yourself in position for the tournament, right?
I think so. I think, that Simba's on. I think a big part of it is momentum is awesome when you get to March. Momentum and rhythm and timing and health. What you don't want to do is not place the, heck yeah. Well, coach, what's the goal? I mean, do you need to win it? Heck yeah, we need to win it. You know,
The lights are on, the scoreboard's on.
what are we talking about? For no reason, I don't want to lose to any of them.
Yeah.
And when you want to be playing your best ball, and our best ball is going to give us a chance to win it. I don't want to lose timing or lose rhythm because we're playing games that may not dampen our seed. There is no such thing as a good loss. There's no such thing as a ho hum. Maybe this can be a good thing. We don't handle losing well around here, and so the emphasis and just go win, go play your best. And if you get to your best and you come up short, okay, so be it. You know, but I would much rather play 3 games, 3 days, knowing that we're humming and playing at our best and we're full of rhythm, belief, confidence, swagger, and then go into March than have an early exit and, well, you got a chance to rest. If we lose, there ain't no resting back home.
That's a good point right there.
You know, so like you said, they keep score, they give you a trophy. You know, let's keep our rhythm and our groove and our swagger going, and take no back steps.
All right. They'll play Thursday at 2:00. Winner of TCU and OU. TCU is the only team in the conference U of H hasn't beaten.
Yep,
It's beaten everybody else. So there you go. Coach.
We'll be ready. We're ready to play.
All right. Appreciate it, Coach. Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Coach.
See you guys.
All right.
Go Cougs.
You just got an hour with Kellen Sampson. I asked for 10 minutes, I'm going to be honest. So that worked out a little better.